All right, let's get started. Welcome to our final meeting of the year. Start with our pre-meeting. So, all business, home rule charter. I can go first. No update. Not sure if you have something.
That's easy.
Fine.
No update from Mike either.
Okay, my thoughts are probably revisit this in a month. I figured no one's gonna answer our emails over the next 2 weeks.
Yeah.
That's where we are. Okay, new board commission applications.
Okay. As of this afternoon, we have one EAC application and two planning commission applications for one vacancy. So would you like me to schedule interviews for the January 8th work session?
What do you want to do?
All the paperwork is, everything, the background checks have been completed, everything is, yes.
Yes. EAC, there's no one competing, so do you feel like you want to interview the person or? It's up to you, up to council.
It's Patrick O'Donnell, I'm not sure.
Yes.
I know who he is.
Yeah, no. you
Is
wanna
there a
interview?
reason we would not interview?
It's just there's, we don't have like two
There's no
for one
competing.
slot, no, it's a 1-to-1.
Now,
But that doesn't necessarily mean we want them on the commission, though.
True, okay, we interview.
I mean, I'm not saying we don't.
Oh, yeah.
I'm just- I don't know anything.
Oh, yeah,
about it.
Usually we do, sometimes in the past,
Yeah.
if we know them or they've been on the commission. Usually.
Yeah, it's up to you guys. I know Patrick personally, he lives in my neighborhood. BAC is a good fit for him. But if you want to interview him, we can bring him in. So up to you all.
I think it's worth doing, just so
Bring it.
we're following a continual procedure.
Sound good?
He's addressed council many times.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
But still, probably just to keep it, I think it's worth watching, even if it's a 10-minute that way.
Yeah, let's,
if we may get additional, I'm not
Sure.
sure, we may get additional applications, when we put out the latest plea for applicants, that's when these three seem to come in. And one, like I said, I got late this afternoon, so before January 8th, we may get more. And if that's the case, assuming you want to schedule those interviews as well.
yeah, cool.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, just to reconfirm, January 8th is our meeting. Everyone's aware of that, right?
January 8th and then the 15th, so they'll be back to back weeks. Because of the January.
First commission, two applicants, is there an alternate? Is there like a backup, like on some of the others?
Yeah, we had just increased it from 7 to 9 members, but no alternates.
No.
Maybe we can see if the one that doesn't get on, interested in zoning, just we do
There's two alternates for zoning hearing board.
And these two for planning commission are not counting me resigning in Cody.
Correct.
Okay.
Yes, because Gary Slagle was filling Laura Coombs' spot. And we still have the one vacancy. You two are basically an even swap. Yes, yeah, so Gary's taking, I'm wrong, Gary was taking Wayne Chang's spot, because that was through 2027. We have Laura Coombs through the end of 25. That's the firm that's still vacant.
Okay, awesome. On to new business, review the agenda. Anything unique other than the what?
The consent agendas where you just say move items 1 through 30.
Is there is the law requiring that we do single appointments for every single one?
I mean, zoning hearing board has to be a resolution, but I don't have any zoning hearing board folks.
We do have one zone,
Oh, we do?
yes.
So other
Oh,
than
there it
that,
is, yeah.
other than that,
I
can
mean-
somebody make a motion for the approval of motions 1 through, whatever it says.
I don't know. Maybe future references, we can do one that's all in one, but as of now, it's great. Better read them item by item. We don't want to like mix up and appoint somebody to the wrong.
Yeah.
In terms of other items, we do have the two, public hearings that are ready to go, talked about at the work session. We will start with the zoning ordinance amendment. Standard, exhibits. We do have the optional ordinance enactment public notice. We can put that on, just in general. This one has been rather straightforward and is not as detailed as sort of others, so we get to council's discretion if you want to do that. It is 2 ads, paragraph long in the Post Gazette. Their rates in 2025. We think 2 ads of a paragraph length. $800. 700.
No, they're pretty small, so twice I'm thinking like 200. Cause I'll get it, if you do it, I'll get it in person tomorrow, so it'll run in the Thursday cheaper cost.
Have it drafted, ready to go. This winter. The second one is the home occupation or the homegrown fresh cut flowers. It's a locally, as localized as it is a requirement in the ordinance. You have the materials as well, so hopefully that will be non-controversial.
There weren't any objectives.
We did not have a meeting in Spain.
Oh,
So,
Well, I mean, when you had it,
yeah.
but the previous time you were in January.
you were there twice. Been there twice, and yes, we typical options, stay on the record, close the public hearing, stay on the record for the vote, table it till next month for further consideration, keep the public hearing open, and continue it until next month as well if there's additional information. Oh, okay, and yes, in terms of other items, we do have all the appointments and everything else. I'm gonna go through them one by one. 19. But I did want to bring council's attention to motion 36 at the end. Under the right to know law. It was first updated and enacted in 2008. I worked with Ambrose and we put together a policy. Has been in place since then. We named him as the open records officer, which is currently doing that. So there have been some changes, obviously, over the years. There was a recent case involving anonymous appeals and whether or not you needed to respond to them. So we took the opportunity in a HOSAC with the Planning Commission and Donna as well, that prepared together and drafted and updated policy. And that is what is motion 36. The other one I wanted to bring to your attention, motion 38. Oh, no, I'm sorry, 39. We talked about 38, the MOU at the work session.
Chief had brought it up at the
Yeah.
work session. And
But that was it. So that, yes, that has been added. 39, we talked about Laterra, and what their plans are for townhome development. They did that assignment and assumption agreement, which really they thought was assigning the development agreement, but the original developer had never finalized it, never put the financial security up, and never, signed development agreement from 2023 or so, over a year and a half ago. So you do have a provision in the approval resolutions that you are to execute that within 6 months or request an extension. Application is void, and the approvals are void. So I've gone back and forth with Mr. Schweiger, what he wants to do here. I understand, Tim, he had sort of a follow-up discussion with you last week or so, and wants to get moving on a grading permit. We potentially move dirt. We're not talking about doing asphalt, I don't think, anymore. Post the closings, that was a discussion earlier. But he had produced an updated construction cost estimate. Luckily, prices actually went down rather than up, but we did have that. So in terms of needing to document his approvals and allow him to get a grading permit while he is also potentially going back in front of the planning commission for additional tweaks, including what might happen with the ordinance amendment this evening. Said, okay, we will do a development agreement, or reference this original approval and everything else, and that this development agreement will be a reapproval on that former plan, should we decide to go forward with it as is. And that if he does change it through an application to the planning commission and then eventual approval by council, we would do an addendum or an amendment and change it and financial securities. So I know Tim and I haven't been able to talk about it, and I let Craig know that, A, we didn't talk about this at the work session because it just came up at the end of last week, and I hadn't had a chance to get Tim's side of the story. I only had what Craig was saying the discussions were. So if there's trepidation or concern, if this is not anything under a time period from our perspective for deemed approvals or anything else, there's concerns, it can be tabled for action at a future meeting. I assume he may be here mostly for this motion, but also for any public comment on the rezoning. But it seems like things are in place. I don't know, Tim, you have a color commentary from your meetings with.
I mean, he has some simple changes, I guess, to the buildings and I haven't seen the actual plans because he hasn't submitted them yet, so that will be going before the planning commission next month, but he does have an agreement prepared for the original approval, which I think he's eligible for, and that's what he wants to proceed on, because according to him, he's not changing any of the infrastructure that is gonna be starting with the grading permit, so. It's
Yeah, it doesn't sound like he's gonna have to go back to planning.
yeah, I'm sure he is because his buildings are changing, so they need to be approved. And then, I think there was there might have been some stormwater stuff, but it was added to with, private easements and things like that. And whether our engineer looked at that or not, but, that might be another factor, so. We shouldn't hold them up for digging. I guess we're gonna have to determine that once we get this application.
We need something from the agenda. It's like the one that happens.
Yes, the motion that Reach had mentioned at the work session regarding awarding the Montgomery project, that's.
Anything else?
All right, it occurred to me, Dr. Lee, for your motion, for your appointment, because there is a small compensation, I think it's $35 a meeting or so, you probably abstain from taking part in the file. Yeah, I forget, is there a, oh, you don't even get paid at all? Sorry.
Just want to make it.
We ain't worked since $35.
All right.
Wait a minute, we got 26 on zoning.
26.
Is planning more?
Yeah, I think it
It
is.
should be less.
Well, they were both the same. I don't think it
It was after tax.
is. So there's 10, yeah, that's right. $26.
So we'll spend it all in one place. Maybe gas money.
Okay, awesome. Cool. So on to manager report discussion items.
Okay, first, update on Maitland Park. I reported previously that the pump track is in, the parking lot is in, and the access road, the 88 trail for the most part is in. I believe there are a couple sections that were a little soft, and we're gonna have to repave when the weather breaks. Playground is mostly in place now, it looks like. We did discover that the depth on one side of the playground is not sufficient for safety purposes, so we'll have to do some excavating there. The electric, I think they were supposed to be out this past week. The water, they also indicated they would be out this week as well to begin the work, giving us access to that. The outdoor classroom will be delivered in February. The restrooms we haven't ordered yet. Still waiting for the manufacturer to put in some language that DCNR wants to see. But I would anticipate we'd be getting the restrooms probably in February or March. And, we're still hoping to have the bridges, delivered in January for installation before our GDPF grant expires in February. In addition, we'll be applying this week for our first reimbursement for this year. And it's been-
Where's the water coming from? Neighborhood 72?
There's actually a water line that runs along.
Is it? Wow.
Update on Ramblewood, the Penvest application is complete and submitted, so we'll be hearing mid-January. They said they've never turned down an application, so I expect we will get it. In addition, we will need to request an extension of time from the contractor. CEC is working on reaching out to them just to let them know it will be coming, and Max has drafted a letter I'll be sending them to sign off on, asking them to give us permission to award the contract in February instead of January. The way we'll be sure we have the Penvest funding in place. That's it on Ramblewood. Update on McDevitt Road, we will be closing on the purchase of the property this Friday and closing on the loan next Monday. So we're in good shape on that as well. Oh, yeah. Cool.
Yeah, we should promote these updates on our website. Just want to point that out.
Let's wait till they close. That's.
No, no, the acorn.
Oh, the other
Yeah,
acorn.
yeah. So, okay, awesome. Portsmouth from council mayor, Luke, my goodness.
I don't have anything tonight.
Nothing.
Yeah, I want to thank Gary and your public work and for the wonderful job on the fix that was that spring water and the pipe system and looks like I think the water has at least and the water flow and has stopped.
Yeah, I was down through yesterday and it was dry, everything, been looking at, watching it and it's, yeah, it's,
Yeah.
everything was dry, I was even down through here today too.
Yeah, excellent work and I also heard from my neighborhood and they really appreciate and they want to thank that you and public work and also the borough council for support of that work and everything at least at this moment looks really good. So they will work.
Mayor?
I'm good.
Right.
Good.
Okay, cool. Yeah, thanks again, Gary. Very efficient and feedback responsive, so thanks for council for letting it happen. Hey, anything else?
You want to talk about the English story at all?
Yeah, oh yeah, just real quick update on the ambulance authority, went to their meeting on Monday, yes, so they did not really talk about funding, but I did send an email out to all of you, but I'm sure you got it, okay, so just wanted to at least get you the figures. Again, there was no rationale behind the apportionment of the rates, but I did notice the example that I provided to you every year and in levels. However, for the upcoming year, there was no rationale as to like, why is that the number that came up with? Similar to Franklin Park, we have not received rationale or anything, just listening to the board meeting on Monday. It wasn't as heavily attended, I think there was some other activity going on, so they got a little earlier in the day. But I did not hear anything about fundraising or any board members or anything very light. I'm sure there'll be more discussion next month, but, yeah, so, from my perspective, I've not received a rationale as to like why we are being asked for 67K, 57K for next year, and just the formula.
How does Pines, population compare with Franklin Park? I don't know.
It's just about.
We're close,
I was gonna say, my guess would be they'd be really, really close.
pretty close, and then, one thing that did come up was the ambulance response time. They were talking about 6 minutes versus the other averages.
Mhm.
So, I mean, Uncle Corey is a doctor, he's a medical professional, he's on the board. And he had mentioned that, for everything that's in place, to remind all the members that they try to strive for 6 minutes. It's a critical number in terms of like if you have a heart attack or stroke. So population wise, fine, we're about the same, but I just bring that up because they're benefiting, the same way that Franklin Park and campus are.
Michelle did call me yesterday to ask, what was happening with the final payment, and I did tell him it was on the agenda tonight and would likely be paid. He asked why, and I said, we're still waiting to see some kind of rationale for contributions, and he said, I thought we were over that, but he understands.
Yeah, Marcia did reach out. Of course, I'm not able to get in touch with her. It's just, we need a standard formula.
Have we flat out asked them for that?
Yeah.
And they have said, what?
The rationale is, this is what they are expecting to be paid from municipalities. That is why they went with what they asked.
They're expecting it based on what, you know?
That's the maximum amount of time is what
Fine.
we pay, basically. is
Past experience.
40. Marshall would say 140, so that's why they went with those. I think our issue is the amount that's needed every year is going to change. And we don't, without a set formula, our costs could balloon. They're locked into.
Yeah, giving them a dollar amount seems not ideal.
I haven't seen our contracts, like they're nothing through, but that draft was for fine. And actually, everybody was on anything else.
I don't think they're doing anything. That's
No, it's since we're a
We're the founding member.
founding member, yes, and the campus won't have control.
Yeah, I thought there's just going to say, hey, this is the balance of what we need.
Okay.
So how do we get from this point to the point where we have a formula and we're happy with the numbers? Because I feel like we're kind of going in circles with this, and I think we need a path.
I would say like one option is to we come up with a formula and counter and say, this is the formula based
Yeah.
on 2 data points, 2 or 3 data points. This is what we expect to pay or contribute.
I think that's rational. Are we meeting with Chris? Is this happening via email? What?
Hasn't happened yet. The first step was to like, let's hold this. Seems like it's got their attention. So we can meet with them next month. And hire this out.
At board meeting, you mean, or?
It might have to be, we can't have more than 3 people if it's not doing this one. So, yeah, we can, no, we'd have to have a no quorum meeting. So whoever wants to meet can meet for them, 2 or 3 of us.
You just invite
We just invite Chris here?
Yeah.
Chris and their board president to come here and.
So that seems like the most direct
Yeah.
way to get it done, right? Can we do that?
We can do that. Yeah.
Okay.
Well, it seems like if you look at this number, 65,000 for 2026 for time, if their population is the same as ours, that's about $4 per resident. Our voluntary contributions been around 5 is what we always said, so we're in the same neighborhood, but maybe.
It adds up.
No, it adds up, but I mean, if they're saying, well, $4 per resident, what they took for time, then maybe that's a formula, sure, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, a recommendation from our board members were offered to pay what Pine pays.
Yeah, I agree.
We are equivalent. And at least it's uniform. So
So can we let them know and then like Chris and the board member know that what we are looking for before we ask them to come over?
Yeah.
Because and if we just invite them over, they will just say exactly the same thing as like what he said before, nothing will come up from there. So we just let them know and what we are looking for. And if you don't have any solution, if you don't have anything like solid, and what's the point to invite them over here? And so, I would say like, at least ask them like, to send us some sort of like information they want to discuss. And before they can come over.
Do we
And,
actually know what we're looking for though? I know we want a formula for what we
Yeah,
pay,
that's,
but we also seem to be unhappy with what everyone else is paying, but if that's already contractual, then
It's not yet.
Negotiations.
It's a negotiations.
it's not signed.
It's not signed. That was a draft that was circulated. Which is why I wanted,
February is fine.
yeah, which is why I wanted everyone to be aware of what the numbers are.
I'm not sure that they can alter it at this point.
right? That
And
makes
when we
sense.
wait till after February, see what they lock it in at. Maybe this will, like you're right, they may, perhaps these numbers might, maybe pine the bulk and they'll agree to something different, but.
I don't think they'll be paid more. It might be lower.
Right.
Sure. But according to our board members who were on the finance committee, this $15, $20, $30,000 will not impede or decimate the authority, but it will get their attention to come up with the actual formula and communicate it to us, make sure we're aligned.
So our goal is, again, I'm sorry, I'm keep beating at this,
That's
but I
fine,
don't,
yeah.
it's not clear to me exactly what we're trying to do here. Step by step. So do we want to have the authority renegotiate these contracts or continue negotiations with the contracts with the other municipalities so that their formula is to our liking? If so, then that we need to let them know that and give them some sort of negotiating power.
I don't think we can at this point. I mean.
I think that, I feel like those contracts are already pushed out there, so they're gonna go back and say, Pine, you've actually got to pay $51,000.
Well, but if it's not signed yet, it's worth trying, right?
Yeah, I can call Marcia tomorrow, let her know that's. what
But is
we're
that-
at. Yeah,
That's the other thing I'm not understanding. Is
Yeah.
this our goal, to have them pay more? Because if we just say, well, we're not gonna negotiate, then we're just gonna let it ride as is, then we shouldn't say that that's our goal, to have them pay more, because we're not doing anything about it.
I don't, personally, I don't, that's not my goal. My goal is to know what we're going to pay and not be on the hook for it. If they come to us and say, we need $500,000, but they're only going to kick in 130, and you and mechanics have to make up the difference. That's the situation I don't want us to
Yeah.
be in. And as of now, I think that's the situation that we're in. We don't have a contract, we don't have a formula, and we don't have anything other than this year they asked for 57, but next year we don't know how much. they're
Yeah.
gonna do.
Right, no, and I agree, I
Right.
don't wanna have to fill the gap every year.
So
We need some more,
we need to know.
stability than that.
Right, if they know what they're gonna pay through 2030, I think we should know what we're gonna pay through 2030. And maybe the question also needs to be asked, if you have a shortfall that isn't accounted for within this structure, what do you want?
well, is that the development person's job?
I think like at this moment, the key point is just ask person what what he can come up with and with the formula. I think let's first focus on that one. I think let's make it simple, as simple as possible. And can you bring that formula here and we can discuss.
yeah,
If you don't have, and please don't come.
yeah, it can't be a formula based on what we think you'll pay because you pay that, that's not good.
Yeah, that's. we
That's what
need
Luke
to
said.
have, like,
They already sent out a bunch of contracts saying this is what they know they'll pay. They better sign it by March or whatever, or so they're out. So that's not a formula. That's a negotiation.
No, and if we can't have a formula because of that for now, then at least we should know what we're in for, just like the other 2 or 3.
Go ahead and tell us, give us some introduction. And also maybe what you really want, I think what I'm understanding that you want something that in the event of a shortfall, how does all of that get distributed over the folks that are benefiting from the service? Not, let's go dump it on McCandless and Franklin Park, like we always do. Yeah,
Right now, we're on the hook.
yeah, we need it distributed based on a formula.
Okay, so how do we communicate this to them so that we don't have to keep having circular? discussion?
You know, like Chris know, and I can go motion.
I know that formula is gonna be, has been a difficult issue. The managers got together and discussed the formula way back when, and nobody could agree on what they wanted the factors to be.
It would be just us and, McCandless at
mean,
this point, right?
At this point, it would have to be.
Okay,
But yeah, I'm not sure how you, what they're always gonna do is take whatever the other 3 municipalities have agreed to in their contract, and then
Divide, you know.
if there's any other shortfall, it gets divvied up between McCandless and Franklin Park. Now, if fundraiser does what they say the fundraiser will do, we'll be getting money back. But
we're getting a raise, guys.
Your chair's fine.
Okay, it just seems like we're not, maybe I'm just not hearing clearly what exactly our goal is and how are we working toward it if we don't. know what
I
it
think
is.
it's to lock us in so that we know what the max is that they'll be asking for from us through 2030.
But we're gonna let these other 3 contracts sort of just play out as is.
Yeah, we have no control over those at all.
Yeah.
My reading of the
Don't we now?
situation is,
We can tell them, I mean, we can inform them that, hey, these are not signed. You got a chance to right size the number, say you made a mistake.
Well, we only have two of the
Right.
7 seats on the board,
Mechanics
so
is
mechanics could
authorized.
always.
Yeah.
Well, if that's something we think is worth trying, then we should try it. If not, if you guys are happy to just leave it as is, that's fine, but
I gotta be honest, I thought it was 40 grand for 25 and then 5% each year, so these numbers are better than
Than
what I
what you
expected.
thought.
It goes up dramatically.
Yeah,
So,
yeah,
it's just next year where it's just that one number,
yeah.
maybe to make them feel good.
yeah.
That's all good rationale.
And if we can lock Brighton Park into, a structure like this, I think that would be okay, personally.
That's reasonable to ask.
make it
what the next
predictable
proposal is.
and
That's
then
easy to
not
budget
shoulder the
for.
burden of everybody else, like we've been doing up until now.
Yeah, I just don't want the borough to get hit with a $200,000 bill because there's a shortfall.
So
Something happened.
they are talking about, for example, if Pine signs this, building a new station in Pine. That's
Where's
gonna
the
cost some money and
Yeah.
if Pine's not kicking in more than we will.
Why would we want to do that?
Yeah.
We should not do that.
Well, yeah, why would our taxpayers want to put their money towards that project? Yeah, that's not right.
So if that is then, okay, and right now I have some thought that why we care for, at this moment, what kind of what pay, and we just focus on what we will, and doing it for next few years. For example, like how much we need to pay each year.
So we can budget for it.
Yeah, we do
Yeah,
want that.
yeah,
That's the ultimate goal. How much are we gonna pay for the next 5 years?
Uh,
Similar to the other municipalities.
Yeah, for other because we'll send the contract to them and let them sign and there will be some sort of like a negotiation. But at this moment for us I think that the key point is just how much we need to pay. I agree with I agree with everybody, and so we need to figure out and and what kind of how much for next few years what we need to pay, and regarding like why time and they need to pay that much. It shouldn't be a like really big concern if they agree to pay that much and or pay a little more than us. I think I'm happy to see that. So for us, I think that we really need to go settle down again. What we will expect for the, for the next 5, 6, 10 years.
Yeah, I agree. Once in long for budgeting, that's our ultimate.
Exactly, so,
Okay.
and if they want to share some information with us, and they are always welcome to come here, otherwise, I don't think that it's the idea to invite them here and to just tell us that, oh, yeah, and that it's a good idea, you're gonna pay for that, and we need a long-term, just like, what kind of plan and for the payment,
Give them a heads up.
yes.
This is the agenda for the meeting.
Mhm.
You want to talk to Chris? I will talk to Marcia. Let them know we should be in early January and sell this. Any other questions on the ambulance authority? Okay. All right, so nothing else, so should we go to executive session if we have about 27 minutes?